welcome here to more TALKFCB and welcome back to the channel, guys. Coming up in today's video, we are going to be reflecting on the week of Champions League action that we've just witnessed, which obviously for Barca did not go well, but we have certainly seen some huge performances from the next generation, from Kylian Mbappe to Erling Haaland. We're going to be discussing those displays in today's video, and I'm going to be explaining who I would rather in my team if it was possible. We're also going to be talking about Juventus' surprise defeat to Porto. Is it the end of the Messi and Ronaldo era? That's what's being said, but we're going to be talking about that. It's all coming up, and some more. So let's get to it. Because if we start by covering what, of course, we don't really want to cover, we don't really want to think about what happened, but yes, Mbappe did score a brilliant hat-trick against Barcelona on Tuesday night, and I have to say on reflection, looking back at the game now, having had time to process it all, there's two things that really stood out to me from that hat-trick. Number one, I do feel as though we played perfectly into Mbappe's hands. We really did set up in a way that I'm sure he looked at it and he thought, this is great, this is terrific. All the space in behind that was there to exploit, all of the open pitch that he had to run into, that is exactly what Mbappe thrives upon, and he took full advantage of that. So yeah, I do feel as though, yes, we did set ourselves up very naively and we did not deal with Mbappe at all. Number two though, I think the finishing was extraordinary. That there was another level. It wasn't just clinical in front of goal. You look at the first goal, the way that he took it on. Yes, it was a finish in the end from close range, but it was the way that in such a tight space, he managed there to have 2-3 touches, take it away from Longley, and then just drill it into the back of the net. And every single time Mbappe went clear on goal, as a Barca fan watching that, you were kind of like, oh dear, it's done. It's over. There was never really a doubt of whether he'd miss, whether Ter Stegen would save it. Back of the net every single time. He was clinical. He was absolutely unstoppable in front of goal. And I think certainly that was a performance for him that I think he needed, because I've watched him so far in Ligue 1 this season and he actually hasn't been playing so well at PSG. There's obviously been questions about his future, all of this stuff, but it was a huge performance for him, stepping up when his team needed him. And of course, in this week of Champions League action, that was just the beginning. Because then, of course, on Wednesday night, we had Borussia Dortmund coming up against Sevilla in the Champions League. Sevilla, they're playing the first leg at home. And coming into the game, Sevilla were on fire in terms of defensively. They hadn't conceded a goal in so many games. They looked so solid. They were brilliant going forward as well. I have them as favourites going into this game because Dortmund in the Bundesliga, they've been awful defensively. They have been shocking so far this season. Yet, for me, Sevilla was so disappointing. I was really disappointed with the way they set themselves up. They sort of played within themselves. They almost seemed scared actually to take the game to Borussia Dortmund. But of course there's one man that really did pick up the game, take it on himself and deliver those killer blows. It's Erling Haaland. And again, it was that kind of performance that you sit up in your seat and you think, wow, that is special. That is impressive. What he did out there, he was picking the ball up and he was just dominating Sevilla. He was just absolutely destroying the two centre-backs, Koundé and Diego Carlos. We know ourselves, they've been excellent. We came up against them in the Copa del Rey, we couldn't touch them. But Haaland, he absolutely took them apart. And again, in front of goal, it was just like Mbappe, that clinical nature. You never feel as though he's going to miss. You never feel as though there's going to be any issue whatsoever when he's in and around goal. He is ice cold in his finishing, and he was so impressive. And he really did intimidate Sevilla from start to finish. Erling Haaland, we've seen it before in the Champions League. He has had so many impressive performances in this competition, which is so good considering he's so young. And it truly was this midweek round of fixtures the time for these young stars like Mbappe, like Haaland, to stand up and say, yep, we are here. And of course, it is no surprise that whatsoever after Barcelona getting hammered by Paris Saint-Germain, who look set once again to exit the Champions League. And of course, you couple that as well with Juventus' shock loss to Porto. Now, of course, Juve on the day got themselves an away goal. In the end, that game ended up 2-1. They were 2-0 down. It was looking very dangerous for them. But at 2-1, they are still very much in this game, and I wouldn't rule them out. But on a night there where Messi lost, Ronaldo lost, of course, in the Champions League, there has been many people now saying, saying, you know what, it's over. Ronaldo, Messi, that era is done. We're on now to Mbappe and Haaland's time. And look, like I've just said, those two players, they were unbelievable. They are absolutely outstanding, and they are going to be huge players looking to the future. They are going to dominate this game. I've got no doubt about that. What I would say, though, about Messi and Ronaldo, don't write them off. Don't just write them off here after one game, after one tournament here, that they may or may not get knocked out of. These are players who have dominated, and I mean dominated our game, with stats that we may not ever see again. So I don't think we should write them off after one or two games. These are players who can still play at a very, very top level. They can still be the best players in the world, and they deserve respect. No question about that. So we can appreciate Mbappe, we can appreciate Haaland, and we will do. But Ronaldo, Messi, with all that they've done, especially in this competition, they do deserve that respect. But naturally, on the subject there of Ronaldo and Messi, on the subject there of players who have dominated our world in terms of football, of course, given the impressive displays of Mbappe and then Haaland, again, we're in this situation whereby straight away, whenever you get that big display, whenever you get two players who are performing at such a high level, the comparisons very much begin. And that has been the topic of conversation over the last 48 hours. Which would you rather have in your team? Would you rather have Mbappe, or would you rather have Haaland? Of course, they're two slightly different type of players. Of course, they look to score goals. Of course, they're forwards. But Haaland is the typical number 9. Mbappe can play out wide. He can come inside. He can play there as the sort of inside forward and contribute in that way. But the question is, which one, if you were lucky enough to be able to sign these players, which one would you have? Now, for me, this is a tough one because they are both world-class players. And honestly, obviously, I would accept both of them. You know, if you're offering one or two of them, I will take them both off your hands. But if you had to pick one, I personally would look at Mbappe and I would say, yes, he is absolutely deadly in behind. In terms of somebody destructive, somebody there who can tear apart a defence, Mbappe is absolutely off the scale. But in terms of Barcelona, looking at our team, looking at the way that we play, given the fact that we have to come up against so many teams there with a deep block, teams who shut down space, teams who sit deep and don't allow you that room in which to run in behind, I think Mbappe would struggle a bit more in the kind of setup that we'd have to come up against. And for that reason, I would definitely go the way of Erling Haaland, and especially right now, given the fact that we are desperate and have been for some time for a centre forward, he ticks pretty much every single box. He's somebody there who can play as the 9, who can absolutely dominate any game. He can pick up the ball, and he's good with his feet too. You look at some of the moves that he was in yesterday. You look at his assist there for the first goal to Dahoud. He actually navigates his way around 3 Sevilla players, really good close control, and plays him in, and it was a brilliant goal from Dortmund. So I think Haaland, in terms of somebody in the profile that he's in, he is absolutely perfect. He could walk into pretty much any team in the world as that out-and-out number 9, and he would succeed. Now, of course, there will be many, many questions, I'm sure. Can Barca get Erling Haaland? Can they even think about it? Can we dream about signing this player right now? And what I would say is, it's very, very difficult right now. We all know about the financial situation that Barca finds themselves in. We can't even begin to think about these kind of signings in terms of a transfer fee, in terms of wages. We are simply not able to pay it right now. What I would say, though, is that won't be the case forever. We do have to go through a big period of change. We're going to have a new board come in. They will have a big, big job on their hands. But what I would say is somebody like Joan Laporta, who is very much now expected to become the new president, he actually has some pretty good connections in terms of agents, and in particular, connections with MINO RAIOLA, which is very, very important there. The agent of Haaland, somebody who's not easy to deal with, but Laporta is very good when it comes to those connections and getting deals done. So I certainly wouldn't rule it out in the future. I think I could see Haaland in a Barca shirt. I don't think it's going to happen in the coming summer. I would be very, very surprised. But further down the line, once we can get those finances in order, once we can clear out the players from the squad, get the wage bill under control, who knows? Never say never. And I think when you look at Mbappe, when you look at Haaland, two players there who could dominate the era to come in the future, I think there's every chance that we could be seeing them lining up against each other in El Clasico. So please do leave your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. What do you think there between Mbappe, between Haaland? Which one of those players would you take if you had to choose one? Let me know which one you would opt for in the comments down below. And also, guys, please do let me know your thoughts on this sort of style of video. Obviously, today it's all laid back. It's a bit more general in terms of our football discussion. Not quite so Barca orientated as we usually would be. But given the circumstances, and given we've got here a bit more of a gap between our next game, I thought, why not? Just do something a bit different. Let me know what you thought down below. Thanks as always, guys, for getting involved. I really do appreciate it. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.